Story 1. Argentina has adults as default organ donors. Instead of registering, you have to opt out. This obviously increased the number of organs available because most people do not feel strongly enough about it to decide either way. One of the few things about my country I'm proud of. It was a game changer. Story 2. It's like I tell my mom, if I die in a car crash but one of my organs survives to be salvageable, it's clearly special and deserves a second chance. That and the waiting list for kidneys is insane. Story 3. I would have every piece of me donated if I could. I am O negative and want to start donating blood because it saved me as a baby. I do not drink or smoke, so I think my organs should be pretty healthy. Story 4. Absolutely. I have been for dozens of years. But I developed latent autoimmune diabetes in adults at age 60. And I'm afraid it has affected most of my organs, making them unsuitable for transplant. Perhaps the corneas. It's a damn shame. Story 5. I put myself as both organ donor and donate my body to science. Let them battle it out once I'm dead. I'm not using the body anymore. Let someone else find something useful to do with it. Story 6. I am a physician, and I am often involved in cases that end up being eligible for organ donation. I have always been a registered donor, but I have recently removed my organ donation registration. I believe in it, and in the cases I have been involved with, it's always nice to get letters from the organ donation agency regarding the specific stories of organ recipients and how it benefited them. However, several things make me concerned lately. First, in various states, mine included, if I am a registered donor, my family has no say. In fact, my treating physicians would have no say. The organ donation entity gets a crack at my organs, even if there is controversy about whether I am truly brain dead. As a treating physician, I really don't like the way that sometimes pushes families into making decisions they don't actually want to. It honors the wishes of the deceased, but at that time, it can be a really delicate conversation, and the issue being forced by having checked that box has led to difficulties. I don't want my wife to have to navigate that. In particular, organ donation agencies can be quite pushy. Ask any intensive care unit physician. Again, I don't want my wife to be forced to deal with that in case the context of my death is challenging. Second, read about donation after cardiac death. I have some ethical concerns about that. Essentially, in people who are not brain dead, we remove support and give them a certain period of time to finally die before organs are harvested. Third, there is a lot of money associated with organ donation in general and after cardiac death. There is money associated between the hospital where the person has their organs harvested and the hospital sending a team to recover those organs. I am not comfortable with the lack of transparency in this process. It used to be a lot simpler, but in our recent negotiations with our regional organ donation entity, a lot of it is too opaque for my comfort level in our state. As a result, I have removed myself from the organ donation registration. Again, I still believe in it, but if it comes to that, I don't want my family to be forced to accept that regardless of the circumstances. Story 7. My brother died in a motorcycle accident, and we were able to donate his organs, which helped some people in desperate situations live their lives. If I die from an accident, my organs will do the same. Rest in peace, brother. Story 8. No, because the idea freaks me out and it's my body. I know rationally that it's the right thing to do, and I am in awe of our ability to perform organ donations. None of that prevents my visceral discomfort at the idea of my dead body being cut up and reused. Story 9. Yes, I am an organ donor and regular blood donor. Everyone commenting under this post should also consider donating blood as often as possible, regardless of blood type. Story 10. Yes, I'll be dead, so I don't really care if my organs come into the dirt with me when they could be used to save someone else if they're viable when I pass. Obviously, if I'm dead in my house for a few days, that would be useless. Story 11. I am, but to everyone who is, I'd also make a humble plea to also register as a bone marrow donor and to donate blood if and when you can. While organ donation is, of course, a great thing, there are things you can do while you're alive that can save someone's life too. And while bone marrow donation isn't exactly a pleasant experience, it's sorely needed. Story 12. Yes for organ donation, no for whole body donation. It turns out a lot of bodies donated for science can end up being used for military tests or sold for parts by unethical companies. Take all my usable bits and then deep fry me until crispy. Story 13. Yes, I am a registered donor, and I have told my partner and my family. If my organs can help save another person's life after mine has ended, that is a good thing. Story 14. Yes, if I'm dead, I don't need them, and if someone can benefit, I would want them to have them. People close to me have benefited from organ donation. They would have died without it. Story 15. Yes, I gave permission for them to take everything except for things like skin on my face that would alter my appearance in a casket. I'm not going to need my organs when I die, so I might as well help someone out. I just don't like the idea of my physical appearance being altered for loved ones I'd leave behind, which is why I made that one exception. Story 16. Yes and no, if I know my death is coming, then absolutely I will donate whatever can be used. If I die unexpectedly, then no, not at all. After my brother was killed in a car accident, before he even passed, the doctors were asking us if we would consider him for organ donation. At first, we said yes, but after some time and thinking, they said it could be anywhere from 2 to 6 days after he passed to harvest them. I couldn't wait that long to say goodbye to him. It would have been too hard on my folks and me. Story 17. No. Too much concern that using my organs might take precedence over saving my life. Edit. And because it can get complicated. The theory is easier than the reality. Example. Living organ donor bills sparks emotional discussion in the Senate. Story 18. No, because I don't want the decision to medically save my life to be weighed against whether or not I can save an unknown number of others. It's never a 0% chance, so I choose to avoid the risk altogether. Story 19. No, due to first responders' recommendations. I was told in an emergency situation, the medical staff might stop trying to save you and start trying to save your organs. Story 20. I am, but it wasn't any kind of difficult choice. Like, I will be dead, who cares? If any of my internal parts can help someone else, why not? Not that I'm expecting anyone to want most of my organs at this point. Story 21. I was until I learned about the illegal organ harvesting done by corrupt doctors in the past. You could be nearing death, but for sure going to pull through, and the fact that you are an organ donor gives corrupt doctors the incentive to let you die just for that healthy heart or kidney. Forget that. Story 22. No, doctors will have no incentive to save me. They will declare me brain dead and then harvest me while I'm still alive. I don't care if this makes me selfish or not. I donate blood. Story 23. Obviously, most of you who are organ donors haven't looked into the dark side of the harvesting business because that's what it is, a business. There have been people in extraordinary amounts of pain being kept alive, for example, not allowed to die, in order to preserve the time needed to transplant the organs to the recipient. I urge you to look into this. You can save your families a lot of needless suffering. Just use the Reddit search bar. Story 24. No, I donate blood plasma, and I donate my body regularly for pharmaceutical science, and I donate plenty of other stuff. But I prefer to keep my organs. Only when a family member is in dire need of something, I'm willing to give up something. But I prefer to go in my grave whole. Story 25. No, because I've heard of people being pressured to turn off life support to donate the organs and then making a full recovery. Being a registered donor only makes that a step easier. I otherwise have no issue donating. I just don't trust people and the process. Story 26. I was when I got my permit, but then my mom made me change it when I got my license because if you get into a crash, they'll let you die so they can use your organs. Story 27. No, because if it is on my license, the hospital has the final say, not my family. If it is not listed on my license, my family or husband can still have decision-making power over the hospital or the Center for Organ Recovery and Education. Story 28. Yeah, it gives me a cool heart symbol on my driver's license. Fun fact. The reason why they put it on the driver's license is because that is where a fatality is most likely to occur, where the organs are not damaged. Story 29. Absolutely. Reduce, reuse, recycle. 2 people I love are still above the dirt courtesy of organ donation, and I want other folks to feel that sense of hope and relief if my body gives out sooner than I could wish. Story 30. I guess I never saw a reason not to do it unless it is against your religion or something of the sort. You are not here anymore, you do not need them, and they might save someone else. Story 31. Yes, but people need to realize you are also signing up to donate your body to science. I am hoping to be buried at the University of Tennessee for forensic studies. Story 32. I'd love to be, but I'm a weird blood group and a few other reasons. You would not want my liver or kidneys anyway, or maybe you would. They've had a good workout. Story 33. 2 days before my mom died, I drove from Georgia to see her at her assisted living place in North Carolina. We were sitting on the couch in her room and she told me, I am going home soon, but you have to stay here. Then the next day, as she was actively dying, she kept waving at invisible people as my niece sang to her. She even instructed me through hand signals to get off the chair I was sitting on, because it seemed I was blocking her view of someone behind me. It was a weird experience, but yes, I am an organ donor, because I don't want the creator to be upset with me for not choosing to save someone else's life. Story 34. No, you do not want my organs. I am one of those people who does everything all out. I work hard, I play hard, I party hard. When I die, it is going to be like that scene from Blues Brothers where they finally get to City Hall and the car just quits. Story 35. Systemic sclerosis. Nobody wants them. I've put into my will that I would like my organs to be given for research purposes if possible. This condition is so rare there's very little research done for it to begin with, and everything helps in trying to find a cure. Story 36. Repo. The genetic opera. Paris Hilton did a great job, actually. Not Repo Man, that's a ripoff, but the same concept. I do remember, I think one year I was paranoid. I have a rare blood type, so I was like, damn, I'd rather not be knocked off for my heart or liver. Story 37. As soon as I was allowed, I won't need them, and they could become someone's second chance at life. I won't tell people that they are wrong for not signing up, but if you are anywhere in the range of positive to neutral emotionally about it, I say do it. Story 38. Yeah, I am a big believer in helping others if possible. Science and society do not get better otherwise. I donate blood regularly and participate in medical studies too. Story 39. Yes, why let something go to waste? Also, I kind of feel like my organs need a disclaimer like lungs. Smoked 2 packs per week between the ages of 19 to 29. Liver. Drank but then became teetotal. And loved processed meats occasionally. Story 40. Because of that story about when the family had their father dying, they were rushed out immediately after he was pronounced dead because they needed to start preparing him. Story 41. Because I have survived significant amounts of medical trauma and actually died during a status epilepticus once. If I get a medical miracle, someone else should too. Story 42. Yes, and because if I'm dead, I want to be parted out like a farm truck. Anything that works needs to be reinstalled somewhere else. It will make the waste that is my life mean something. Story 43. I used to be, but unfortunately, a chronic and incurable disease, and the medications used to treat it have made it no longer an option for me. But I definitely appreciate those who do donate, as I'll likely need new lungs in the future. Story 44. Yes, don't let anyone tell you they intentionally don't save people for organs. For an organ to be useful, the body has to be brain dead but otherwise stable. It almost never happens. They can't engineer an organ donation outcome. Story 45. Yes, absolutely. However, in Australia and many other countries, it's ultimately up to your family to consent, so make sure you've had that conversation with them. Also, particularly young men, please consider joining the bone marrow or stem cell donor registry. That's one you can do while you're alive. Story 46. I am going to switch. I've been looking into the whole brain death situation since that one person was almost killed by transplant surgeons because he was declared dead, and no one wanted to listen to the nurse who said he wasn't dead. Story 47. Yes, if I am dead, I will not need my organs anymore, so if they can help someone else, I might as well. That being said, when I first got my license, I did check no for organ donor. I did that so that when my provisional license stopped being provisional, I could get a new one for free. Story 48. You donate 1 kidney, you're a hero. You donate 5 kidneys, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation gets involved. But seriously, yes, I'm a registered donor. Gift of life and all that. Story 49. I'm not. I was 15 and scared it was some sort of pact where I had to donate my organs to anybody who needed them while I was still alive. I don't even know where this idea of mine came from. Story 50. In Singapore, we are automatically registered as organ donors once we turn 18. We can remove ourselves from that list at any time, but if you do, you will be placed at the bottom of the list for organ donations. Honestly, I don't care what happens to my dead body. Story 51. Yes. Why not? If my death can benefit others, it's better than my death benefiting nobody. I won't be using the parts. Not donating is like quitting in anger, taking your ball and going home. Story 52. Yes, I have been since I was 16 because I knew that the silver lining in my death could be life for another family. Then, I lost my cousin to suicide when I was 20, he was 21, and his gift of organ donation impacted 5 other people. Story 53. Yes, I had an uncle who was a recipient from a family who was able to put all bias aside and donate a liver. He lived 25 extra years. Organ donation has affected and touched my family with nothing but positive results. Story 54. Yes, and I opted for them to also possibly be used for medical, scientific, or educational purposes. If in death, I can possibly extend somebody's life, improve its quality, or contribute to the scientific progress of humanity, I wouldn't want it to be any other way.